All right, and now I'm joined by two-time NCAA champion Nathan Green. All smiles there as I say two-time. Has that settled in yet? Because we're about a week removed from the NCAA title out in Eugene, an epic race. So where are we at in terms of just like the post-championship hangover?
um, it's unreal. It doesn't feel like it really happened. I feel like I was so focused on that meet and winning that race and like doing it that now that I've done it and it's past me, it hasn't really like registered yet. It's hard to it's hard to put it into words though how much fun it was and how cool it's been since like with all my teammates and family like just celebrating the win.
You've gotten the chance to experience this once before in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Then last year, a teammate of yours wins the NCAA title, and then you get the chance of that elation all over again. What's the
Yeah.
difference in the two feelings when we go back to 2023 versus this one?
Um, well, 2023, that was, Joe wins 2022. I won 23. He won 24, and I won 25. And then in between there, Luke won the mile both times. Like but the feeling, the difference is like it just kept like building and building and building. It just gets better and better every time. Um, when I won as a sophomore, it was definitely more like a oh hold like that just happened. Like that's awesome. Like how did that even like? It was just pure like shock and like Joe got second in that one, so it was just like how did we just do that? Like that was so cool. Like whoa. Um, I didn't know that I was gonna win. I mean, you never know when you're gonna win or not win, but this one felt a little bit more certain. I was a little bit more confident in myself and ready to go. But this one definitely just like meant more. Like by myself, it's the first time I've ever ran a final without two guys with me. I've always had Luke and Joe, um, and I'd been working so hard for this and so much conscious energy going into like winning this title and like putting it all out there. Like my last attempt, like last ditch effort, like we got to just win this thing. And this one just like, I mean, you could see it after the photos, and I was almost crying. I was like so relieved and so like happy and so proud of like the work that I had done and all the mental preparation and like all the months and months of training. Like, and because like, I got second indoors and it was just a punch in the face. Like that sucked. I mean, go through the emotions of winning. I mean, looking at like the final 150 and like Abel isn't on my shoulder yet. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I think I'm gonna win. Abel pulls up on my shoulder and I was like, oh fuck, god damn it. And then he like it's like slow motion, him pulling away from me. So I was like, all you can do is laugh. But um so like to come back and do it this time and actually win and pull up, have somebody Ethan pull up on my shoulder and then pull away from him, like it felt really good. The difference is now like I knew like more about what was happening and it was just so much happier.
Definitely. I think one of the things that sticks out to conversations I've had, with other people around you to, describe Nathan Green to me, and a lot of people pull the fact that you're a huge team guy, that you fed so much off of the guys around you in the last couple years that I think what sticks out to me about hearing you describe that is that a lot of indoor and outdoor this time around was for yourself
Yeah.
in a way. And so how can you describe, I guess, how much you fed off the team for the early parts of your career versus this season in particular, just taking care of business for whatever you wanted to accomplish in this final year?
Yeah. I mean, especially like freshman, sophomore, junior year, I had so many like older guys coming in between like Sam Ellis, Brian Fay, Ed Trippis, Kieran Lum, Isaac Green, Luke and Joe, obviously. Like they're all like, I was the youngest in the group easily by like 2, 3 years. Um, so they always like pulled me up and they always like helped me and led me and like the things I was like, okay, I have to give back to them because like this is my job now. I have to give back to the people who are giving so much to me. So like with the team thing, it was like I'm doing this for my guys every single time without fail. I will give everything for them because they have given everything to me. And like for the coaches, it's like the same principles. Like I don't care how much it hurts, what race I have to run, who I'm competing against. It is for them. It is for these guys. Like, let's get into it. And then this year it was different because we didn't send as many to the NCAA's, but it was the same principle throughout the whole year. I mean, we did pen relays, and it was like, this is like my last year. This is Ronan's last year. This is Reese Hammond's last year. Like, this is Kyle Reinheimer's last year. I was like, a lot of them were like transferred in, but it's like, this is for them. Like, I need to do this for them. I'm going to race as hard as I can for them. I don't care how much it sucks. Like the morning of the 4x mile, like I was sick that entire week. And I woke up that morning because I was throwing up all night, and I was like my nose was stuffed, like everything felt horrible. And I wake up and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm in so much like just like the body is like, and I was like, that does not mean a thing. We have to do it. We have to go out there. I will not let this I will not let this happen. I need to do it for Reese and for Martin. Ronan had one in the DMR with me, so you know, still for him, but he already got his. But I was like, I'm not letting those two leave without a wheel. And it just kept carrying. I mean, through conference, it was like conferences when we got a little bit more individualized, and it was like, okay, I need to race accordingly so that I can get ready for regionals, which is prep for nationals, which is like, the big one. And but through all those experiences, I was just thinking about like what Joe and Luke did for me, and that's what I was trying to do for especially Martin, who's our freshman standout. He made it to the final at regionals, and then was like one of the first or second guys out from NCAA's. So like a phenomenal run from him. But it's just like showing him the approach, showing him how to do it. Like, what are the steps? What are the levels? What does it look like? What does it feel like to make it? Stay calm and collected, win again, stay consistent, and make it all the way. Um, so that's more what my motivation was this year, is to leave an impact on the younger guys who are watching me do everything, to make sure that like what all those guys before me did for me doesn't just go to waste. Like, I can't be the one who cuts off the line, you know. And I have full faith in all of our guys who are younger, who watched and learned that they're not going to be the ones that cut the line either. Um, yeah, it was cool though. Doing it for yourself is a lot different, because it still felt like I was doing it for everybody else. I mean, I was like, before the race, before the final, I was like, this is for the guys who didn't make it, the guys who had to cut their seasons short, the guys who had to medically retire. This is for all the people back home who never got to make it, like they never made it to nationals. It's for the people who, just missed out on a final or whatever. Like, this is for them. I'm going to show them that it is, you can just keep going and you'll make it. Just, yeah, it's always about the team. It's gonna be different without them. So you're,
100%. That's gonna be an adjustment as a
yeah,
pro. But the coolest part is like in hearing how many of your fellow classmates are finishing up. Whether it's like exhausting their eligibility or whatever. It in any other program, you'd think of it as like, ah, well, this was the last dance season, right? Like they're gonna
yeah,
go out on top. But the thing is, it's like because of that attentiveness from the upperclassmen to instill that in the guys behind you, it feels like Coach Andy Powell and the whole team has instilled that as just sort of like the pipeline that doesn't allow for it to just have every class gets its last dance moment in
yeah,
a sense where just a couple days after your run, we see Owen Powell and Josiah Tosinson like run 3:36, and so it's
yeah,
like, well, the next generation's already in good hands.
yeah. I know. I mean, we had a lot of people. We've had a lot of people talk to us about Owen and Josiah, and it's like our future is in really good hands with them. But it's like we also have this Nathan Neal kid who ran, what he ran 7:49 in the 3K, but he's unattached, and he ran 3:57 while Martin ran 3:57, and Martin also ran 3:39. And then we have so many like different puzzle pieces. Like, we have a great sophomore class that just like, a little banged up here, a little banged up there, but like our future's in good hands for more than just those two. They're going to definitely supplement, but yeah, a lot of people are going to be pretty pissed that UW is going to keep winning these things. Yeah, we've seen some people already in the NCAA start to take jabs and pokes at Owen and Josiah, which is really weird. They're high schoolers still. Get a grip. You know who you are. Who said that? Oh, that's real cute. It's so weird. Watching them run 3:36. This guy commented, cute, also cute. Guy who was in the NCAA final. It's just so weird. Hating on high schoolers. Come on. That's so weird. It's
It is
so.
crazy.
Uh,
Um, one other thing that I guess like
but
I'm curious about, just in particular with this streak, right, that you guys have going on right now, is that I, I mean, is it something that you guys talk about? Like
not
maybe,
really.
yeah, that's what I was wondering. It's like it's
Really.
not you're doing it for yourselves, your coaches, your teammates, but it's a stat. It's not necessarily
Yeah.
something that's thought of.
Like, I mean, obviously, four straight in the 15, and then if Abel actually snapped our true streak of like straight wins, um, which is unbelievable that we even got to five straight. Um, but it's not we don't really talk about it. It's just like, oh, that was cool. Let's see if we can do it again. But it's never like, oh, we have to keep the streak alive. We have to do this. We like there's no other way. Like if you don't do it, you're a failure. Like when I got second at NCAA's, it was still like, what a run. Like that was crazy. Like great job. Like phenomenal. Like there was never a moment with the coaches or the training staff or the teammates where it was like, oh, like you failed. Like how could you let this streak die? So like for the rest of the people, it's like that are gonna come after me. It's like it's still the same thing. It's like, yeah, it's really cool if you do it, but like, who cares? Like if you miss one and you win another, still a national champion.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna have their day and everyone's gonna have a fallout. Yeah, we don't really emphasize it. It's just something we do, and yeah, it is really cool and it's really hard to do, but it's just
Yeah.
how it
What's the biggest thing you think you personally learned from winning in 23 and then coming close but not winning in 24 and then this past indoor season?
is. I think the biggest thing I learned is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Um, I can relax a lot more than I thought I could. Well, especially last year. Last year was a blow up year in my brain, but and this year, like I think I just put it all together of like it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't need to put so much pressure on myself to do like these. Like there are a lot of little things that need to be done, but it doesn't have to be a laundry list. Like you could just have like five little things that you do that keep you consistent, but it doesn't need to be 20 things. And like you don't really need to change who I am, just need to be consistent. And I think the biggest thing that like really like wrung out through everything was like just believe in yourself. Like why not believe, you know? And being okay with like, well, I might not win, but I'm gonna give it hell. I'm gonna be up there. I think that's what I really learned from indoors was like, all right, so you didn't win, streak is over, cool. But you got second because you gave it everything you had. And like I made a pretty big move, 600 out, like 500 out. Like I've never done that before. I've never moved that far out, and it was like, well, eventually got to move on and grow up. But yeah, I think that's what I learned the most. Is like just got to believe. I just believed in myself indoors, and I realized that winning isn't everything.
So then we move on to the outdoor season, and you open up and you run 3:35. What was that? I think at Brian Clay,
Brian,
right? And then from there, we do see other people in the NCAA. You know, we saw what Liam did, what Ethan did,
yeah,
Gary, like all these people running crazy fast times, and it just is all part of. I feel like Andy's plan. It's like we don't need to blast it so many times throughout the season. Just get it once, prove your fitness, and then get sharpen up and get ready for the championships. What was it in the way that stood out to you about the structure of this outdoor season that ultimately was successful?
it was just collected. I mean, it was cool, calm, collected the whole way. I mean, and we just didn't care about what anyone else was doing. It's like 3:33 collegiate record. Like that's a pretty cool accomplishment. and that's really nice. And like, that's great. You got a regional mark. Cool. Like that's what that was. Like I ran 3:35 and I was like, cool, I got my regional mark. Like the championship racing is never run that fast. Like it's cool to prove you have that fitness. It's cool to run those good times, but like we were just hunting for a regional mark and we were just taking it one thing at a time. Like we're not trying to get into Prefontaine in March. We're not trying to get a world standard mark in April. Like we're trying to win races and we're trying to build that repertoire of like, this is what championship racing looks like. This is what it feels like. Like this is what it is. And like looking forward through like all of outdoors, or like looking back on all of outdoors, it was like we were just so focused on winning and just competing as hard as possible. Like the time just didn't matter. It was like, okay, I made it to regionals. Cool. That's all that I care about. Now we can just start winning. We did the hardest part of the season, and that's qualify to qualify to qualify. And it was like, all right, let's just go win. Um, yeah, I mean, once you start really competing, the times just start going. And we saw it at the trials. I mean, last year at the trials, I went 3:35 or 3:36, 3:34 PR'd, and then 3:32 PR'd again. And it's like that's just from pure unfiltered racing and just running as hard as I could. And I got a feeling USA's this year will probably be the same way because it's the same people
Yeah.
who have the same racing styles. So the times will come, thankfully.
Yeah.
But
It's not getting any slower whatsoever. And
now that they watched just what happened in the NCAA's, they're not going to let it do that again. They are
no. And
no.
the one thing that sticks out to me too is that you don't have like another good alternative, right? If you chose to, I'm just gonna go 800. Like that's also a crazy stacked, team to try and make. So I guess between now and end of July, like this is we're definitely gonna unpack the race in and of itself of NCAAs. But I'm curious, like, what do you want to try and accomplish in these next couple of weeks as we lead into NCAAs? I mean,
Uh,
into USAs. Sorry.
no, you're good. I think I just want to put together some really good training. I mean, we've had some pretty low mileage weeks because it has been championship racing. So I just want to put in some really good training, some like honest efforts. And I want to just make myself better in little ways and just keep gaining that, like that next percent. Um, I got a long time to do it, about 6 weeks. Um, so I think what I really just want to see out of myself is just how much can I get better by, and how much more fitness can I improve, and how hungry can I get, because I really, really want to make that world team. Like that has been like the ultimate goal of this year is making the world team. I really want to do it, and I know that it's within my wheelhouse, and I know that I'm capable of it. I've just got to keep working, because if I showed up right now to USA's, maybe I make the team, maybe I don't. Like it's kind of there's too many guys that are just too good. I want to be able to separate myself from who I am now and just go out and race everybody. And if I make it, that's amazing. And if I don't, like, then we'll go to Europe and keep racing. But I really, really want to go to Tokyo. So
I
I'm just
love
ready.
this mentality, and I feel like you're going to win over so many people. It's just sort of like, because you go from being like, all right, like past NCAA champion, gets it done, adds another title, but now, like, even after that success, you're going to be viewed as an underdog to try and make this team.
Now, I was an underdog viewed this past week, so nothing really changes, I guess. I
Yeah.
mean,
All right, so
yeah,
let's set up this past week at NCAAs, and I kind of want to start with the fact, before this final, you talked a little bit about this on in your post race interview. It was just the warm up and getting yelled at by frat guys. Like, what
yeah.
exactly happened, and what did they say? Like, I paint the picture for
Um,
me.
well, they said um, man, I can't say what they said for a bunch of many reasons, but they called me some slurs.
Oh boy.
Like these are Oregon guys, like they're Oregon frat guys. This does not speak to the entirety of Eugene or Oregon, but these are Oregon frat guys. They've got some beers in their hands. They're obviously pretty tossed. And it's funny. This happened at conference as well when Reese Hammond and I were warming up, or like, we were on the cool down from the final, and they start yelling and jeering and saying all the like homophobic slurs, and like they're calling us all sorts of names, and we're just still running. We're like, dude, like grow up. Like seriously, that's like this is the best you could come up with. Like, come on. Like, surely you could find some way to insult our like our school, whether it's a bad football season or a bad basketball season or like whatever you're gonna say. But like that's just such a low tier insult. I don't know. But then the same thing happened in NCAA's, and I was just like, all right, like I don't even know if this is the same guys, but you guys are just such clowns. Like, what is wrong with you? And like a lot of the times when you're walking around Eugene, like you don't really like nobody really like says stuff like that. So it was kind of shocking. But then Sophie says her thing about how like she loves Eugene and they're so great. But then afterwards, like she goes out on the town, NCAA champion, and they're giving her grief too. And they're like being rude to her. And she's like, I regret saying that. That was like, whatever. I was like, yeah,
Yeah, I
they,
saw this on. I was following along on her Instagram where she was saying it's like, oh yeah, Eugene treats me great, and then I think afterwards, like, actually burn it all down.
yeah, burn it all down. Cause like I understand like rivalries run deep, but like, geez, like that's crazy. They got nothing better to do than drink and scream at people, I guess. It's like, all right. It's like, well, I'm gonna go run my race. And then after the race, we win, and I was like, I really want to find them and just be like, hey, yeah, check it in your stadium,
Yeah, that's right.
your place. Like,
All right, so then how do you zen in for your race coming in from that warm up to, I guess
no,
it's the warm up track, last instructions from Andy, or like what happens then?
oh, that was kind of interesting. It was unlike anything I've ever done before because I was getting to this point. I never take caffeine like ever. Like before, like Wednesday's prelim, I didn't really listen to too much like hype music. I was just like, all right, like let's just go race really hard. Let's see how well we can do, just completely naked almost, and like let's get going. And so then like Friday comes along, and I have like 40 milligrams of caffeine. Do all the songs that get me going, and I'm like buzzing, and I'm like ready to go. They say that, and I'm like, like man, that is just I want to hit you in the mouth. Like, don't ever speak like that. Like you're a terrible person. Like I want to really get going. But then I'm at the track. We're doing all of our drills and stuff, and like Chris and Andy are there. Andy, like his final instructions, he doesn't really have like final instructions. It's just like, all right, big, let's go, come on. And like, gives me a hug. Chris will give me a fist bump, and he's like, just a foot race. Like, let's get after it. But after this, when he was like calming me down and was like, it's like, what do you think about fishing tomorrow? Like, where should we go for that? And I was like, what? I mean, I guess we could go. like pulling me down from the ledge. Like he can tell that I'm amped up, and he brings me down, and like then like we start talking about like like little inside jokes, and it's just like now we're laughing and now we're smiling and now we're ready to go. And then I go to the call room. It's like coming back to Zen. Like I don't know if that's so much of me as it is more of the coaches, Andy and Chris, and it's like they just um afterwards, it's like, yeah, those guys were saying stuff. That's why I was so amped up. And like, yeah, we could tell somebody said something. Because,
Yeah.
like, historically speaking, at NCAA meets, one time I was doing like a 200-meter, this was at indoors a couple years ago, and this coach is standing in lane one on his phone, and I rip around the corner, and I like almost nail him. He's a big coach. He would have laid me out. Even at top speed, he would have laid me out. I go out into lane two, and there's a bunch of his athletes in lane two, and I just shut it down. I am hot. I am pissed. I was like, this is the most disrespectful, like nonsense. Like so like they know like when people start doing stuff like that on a race day, like I get I get pretty fired up. So I think they've seen it before. They know how to calm me down. Yeah, I was pretty heated.
What were you guys expecting in terms of the actual tactics of the race? You mentioned sort of like this is the first time you're going into a final without a teammate, and so there's less of sort of like the team tactics that could get employed or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's you and the rest of the field. So, what were you thinking of how it unfolded?
I mean, honestly, I wasn't thinking too much. Andy does all the mastermind planning, but we figured that either Harrison would take it and he would go through in like the 800, like 204. Sorry, the 204, and it would be like a little bit more of an honest race, like modeling after almost indoors. Or we figured Adam would take it and it would be like 211. So Simeon taking it, Adam being right there was pretty close. we come through in like 210, 211, and we thought that like everybody and their dog was going to move at 600 to go, because that's the move. That is the positioning move. That is the wind up. That is, no matter what way you spin it, that's where the move always happens. So we knew that I needed to be to the outside with 500 to go. I needed to be up in the top three with 600 to go. At the bell, I needed to be in the top two, pushing whoever was in front. We figured it would be Adam, just given the way he's been racing all season. And then 300 to go, it was like, you gotta go, you gotta move, because if anybody's waiting to make a move, they're gonna get left behind. And like everybody's gonna be able to close in this field if it's 210, 211. Everybody did close. So like you just got to be the first one to close. You have to be the first one there, or you're going to lose. And another part of our strategy was like, if Adam takes it at 200 and I'm tucked behind him, Adam's going to beat me. Like, or somebody's going to come around my side, block me in. So it's like, you need to be on his shoulder all the way around the curve, and you need to go at like this point, and you just got to send it, and you got to dive. And, like, I mean, it was a really close race. That was a blanket finish, but it was like I did exactly what Andy told me to do. And like the running on the outside of the shoulder is really risky because you burn so much energy being on not in lane one and around the corner. But I was completely calm and controlled, and I was like, okay, this is exactly where I need to be. I'm in the right spot. Let's wait till, this mark, and then we'll really punch it and we'll just go for it. And, I'm coming down and I'm like, okay, I passed Adam. That means I'm in the lead. And I just start tearing down the field. And as I'm running, like, I can feel like, I could feel somebody coming up. I give a glance, see it's Ethan. And I was like, I'm going to have to dive. Like, if there's anybody who could, like, close it out, like, it's going to be Ethan. And so, I do the lean. I didn't know that I had won. I thought that because I knew that he did too. And I was like, this is going to be down. I either just lost by 0.01 or like I just won by 0.1, like either way. And it came down to that final like lean. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. Like, that was like, but that's like how the tactics played out. It was like, it's exactly kind of what Andy predicted. It was like, it was going to be at 6, it was going to be at 3, and you have to move at 1, and you got to go. And it can't ever get slower. Nothing. I think every 100 got faster. And the central squeeze, that's what he called it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. I mean, that's what he did it pretty much his entire career,
Hmm.
especially at the Olympics when he won. Is like, yeah, it's slow, but watch the squeeze, and he just slowly winds up and goes. So that's what we were doing. And like the positioning was all there. Probably at like 800 to go, like 700 to go. I was boxed in, and I was in the back, and I was like, no, like, no, I'm not getting stuck here. I will not die here. And I pushed out and then made it into the front, like in the third place with 600 to go. I was like, all right, we're good. We're ready. Um,
In the mix zone, you said that with 250 to go, you heard Andy say
I,
jump.
yeah, I could hear him like yelling at me to like dive, jump, like just like jump, jump. And I was like, that can only mean one thing, and that is that everybody's about to close on me, and I need to like throw my body. And that was the first time I've ever done it. And so I didn't like fully dive. I was kind of scared to do that, but like the actual lean itself pretty much threw me into a dive.
Yeah, I was gonna say like watching the actual finish. Like, had you ever dove at the finish line before this? Because this wasn't even. It didn't even feel like it was a dive. It was a lean and then a somersault. I felt like.
Yeah, that was because I thought I was gonna break my nose, because I started to lose my footing, and I was like, I don't have it, and I started coming straight down, and I was like, honestly, I was trying to hit like a flip, because I just like launched myself as hard as I could, but the somersault was, yeah, that was that was pure luck.
With 100 meters to go, like if you rewatch that race and just took a freeze frame of that final straightaway, it looks like it's not a 1500. It looks like a bunch of guys running the straight up 100 because of how wide everything was.
Yeah.
I mean, what there's no you don't look back at that moment, but like you could feel that, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I knew that we hadn't broken the field. Because when I looked up at that big screen with like 200 to go, and I saw there was like small separation with 200 to go, I was like, that is not enough. people are about to fly down this gap. Like Adam and I just had like the fastest first 200 of the 400. Like, so I think we just flipped. Everyone just flipped. I probably had the one of the faster first 200s, but then everybody else probably beat me in the second 200. But it was just, I just got there first and just maintained. But it was terrifying because I was like, I am quarter of a second away from winning or losing this. I knew it as soon as I came down to 150. I was like, oh man, like, okay, right spot. Let's just go. Just see what happens.
The adrenaline that comes over you even after that race, I mean, can you describe what the feelings were afterwards? I mean, you even said that like your mom was in the stands as
Yeah.
well, and so like there must have been just so much hitting you after that.
Yeah. I mean, it was my mom, my stepdad, my brothers, my sibling. Like everybody was there. Like my grandma, my grandpa, like my uncles. Like it was like everybody, and it was just like, oh my gosh, did I win? I have no idea. Oh my god, I won. Let's 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 go. This is awesome. And it was just like relief and joy. And like I see my mom crying, and I'm instantly like, all right, I'm done. I'm gonna start crying. It's over. Like my stepdad's crying. I've never see him cry. I was like, this is crazy. My little brothers, they don't really know what's going on, but like they get that I'd won, and they're really happy. My sibling is crying. I'm like, it's over. It's over. It was just like pure happiness and joy. I've never been so happy after a race. That was really cool.
What do you think this win does, or ultimately changes? Because like I feel like your stock, your value, like still was pretty high, and like you've got a pro contract kind of secured and everything. And but I mean, like, what do you think this ultimately proved? You know, the victory itself.
Um, for me personally, I think it proved that if I continue to hit the principle of what I'm trying to accomplish over the results, I will continue to get the results. I think to the effect of what it means for my legacy, it just like college career is sealed on the highest note you could possibly have it on. And I cemented the legacy of, you know, the double champ, triple double. I mean, Luke, Joe, and myself, all double champs. You don't see that every day. And I think it just leaves behind the like, it proves that like no matter where I am, no matter what I'm racing and no matter what has been going on, I will compete really hard and I will fight down to the last possible step. And no matter where I am, it will be me who's doing it. Like I can do it. I will do it. I am nobody but myself. It proved that more for what I needed. And to the people watching, it was like, just prove the kid's got heart. He's going to go to the line. Um, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Was that the hardest race you've ever run?
Well, the conference 5K was pretty rough, but it was the hardest run tactically speaking. That was the most tactical race I've ever been in, and it was the hardest close I've ever made. So yeah, actually, I think it was. That was the biggest race I've ever been in. That was insane. Yeah, that was definitely the hardest one. Conference 5K was pretty rough, I will say. Not too much of a 5K guy.
What did Coach Powell say after the race? Once you got a chance to debrief and like calm down from this one in particular, I guess like what stood out to him?
Well, we haven't talked about the race itself. It was pretty anticlimactic. It was a great job. That is all. Um, that's what Chris and Andy were both saying. They're just like, great job. Like, ooh, like that was a barn burner. Like, holy shit. Like, wow, that was close. And that's it.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. I mean, just kind of like put it behind you, start going forward. It's
I
pretty
think
cool.
I think a couple years ago, like you did some interview. This is I think when you committed to Washington. I went back and I looked, and you said something about just in the recruiting process. One thing that stood out to you about Andy was the fact that he speaks to you just more, as a person outside of just like the athlete.
Yeah.
So in your whole entire time, like that's what attracted you to the program at the very beginning. But what are some of the biggest things you've learned from that approach that he has to coaching, where it's less so about the splits and the workouts and that kind of stuff, but as a human, like what have been the biggest things that you've developed from Coach Powell in that sense?
That is the question of the year. Wow. That's a deep call. That's a deep call and throwback, because I remember saying that and like how truthful it was. Um, wow.
I
Um,
did my research for this one.
you're clearly a professional. Um, but I think what his approach has taught me the most is that there's a lot of different ways that you can be an athlete, and there's a lot of different ways you can win. And the most consistent and the best way to win and to be your best self is to just be relaxed and happy and not take things so seriously. And I mean, there is like, you got to commit, you got to be serious, you got to want it, you got to need it. But like, ask me about fishing before the NCAA final, like my last collegiate race, like that sort of stuff. Like it is for the team and it is for all these things. And like, it's great. And if you emphasize those things and you like pull yourself out of it a little bit, you tend to do better, because it's not so much like me, how am I going to do? It's like, how are we going to do? And it takes the load off of it and it de-stresses everything. And then you can really run hard. And as a man and as a person, like, he just makes sure that I'm consistent with treating people well. He makes sure that I've learned lessons on how to like actually handle things like evenly, no blow ups and no peaks and valleys. They're going to happen, but they shouldn't be over like little things or like things that are easily able to be controlled, and those types of deals. And yeah, he's treated me like a son, and it's been really really special. I'm glad to keep going with him.
Yeah. So if that perfect transition in a sense to talk about sort of the next chapter, we'll release this after you've made this official, so we could speak on it a little bit. But share with us the news. All right. So what is the contract in terms of just like who you're signing with? What's the setup, and like what are you most excited about going forward?
We're signing with Adidas. Um, we'll be staying here in Seattle with Andy and Chris and Joe, Kieran, Sam Prakel, Sam Ellis. And it's gonna be a blast. I'm really excited about it. I love the company itself. I mean, these people have treated me really well through the NIL process and through becoming a pro, and like taking care of me in ways that like I didn't even know companies did for people, and just like giving me opportunity to do what I love. Like, it's really really special and extremely unique, and I'm very fortunate. And the setup just looks like how it is. I mean, there'll be a little bit more volume, probably some, you know, altitude camps, and I won't have school to do, so I'll probably play more video games. But yeah, I mean, it looks just like how it is, and we'll just keep competing hard and training hard and just living our best lives. I mean, I'm gonna move into a house with Joe, Kieran, Sam Ellis, and one of our teammates, Cole Lindhorst, this next year. So it's gonna be like a true pro house, and it's gonna be fun. I'm really really excited.
It sounds
I'm
like there
excited.
needs to be cameras in there to just like a reality TV show.
Yeah, honestly, a reality TV show for us would be something. Um, we do have a lot of fun. Yeah, see probably some of the greatest card playing you ever could ever imagine in that house. Um, yeah, it's gonna be really fun. I'm excited to stay with my friends and like my best friends and like my true like honest to God people I'll take with me to the end of the line. Um, yeah, really really good people I'm keeping in my corner, and also to train with all the college guys. Like, come on, like I made a promise to Owen that I would be around for his entire college career, and I'm not doing it on in the singlet for UW, so I'll have to stick around as a pro.
Definitely. Um, I think one thing that's fascinating to me is just sort of like how this jump from the collegiate to the pro rank. Sometimes people can just go, "Hey, I'm going to make a total change," but for you guys, like having that familiarity is, and just sort of like a playbook from the last couple of years of success at that level. When you see, Sam making teams, Joe making teams, and that kind of stuff, like has this always been sort of something that you guys talk about, like the professional side of things, when you're warming up or cooling down from races or on these long runs, like the shared ambition of the guys on the UW team?
Yeah, I mean,
It
um,
feels obvious,
yeah,
right? Like you just it's
pretty
a natural
time.
transition.
It's what we've all wanted, and it's what we're all geared towards. I mean, the academic side is obviously very important, and we take it very seriously. Um, our large team GPA was like 3.6 indoors, and then the fall GPA for crossmen was like 3.5 ish. Like we're still like pretty good at students, but like the athletic side is just so heavily geared towards I want to be professional. This is what I want. I need this to work out. Like I'm so excited and amped to have an opportunity to run professional. Like it's just everybody's in the same boat. Even if you are like some people are pros and some people are collegiates, like everybody trains really hard. Everybody wants it really bad. And yeah, like this is the natural progression. I mean, it was like it almost feels like destiny. Like this was meant to happen. There was no other way that it was going to happen. It was I'm going to run for UW. I'm going to win a title. The second title was awesome. I'm going to go pro. I'm going to stay here and we're going to see what happens. And having this group of like-minded people is just like it's just awesome. It's Yeah, it's really really cool because you get so many people who just want to see the best for each other while they're hunting down their dreams. And it just makes everybody get fired up and everybody's into it together and everybody wants it. So everybody's going for it. It's really cool. It's really really cool. There's no program like it.
Going back even farther to like when you were a kid, like was this part of the dream for you? Because I'm trying to pull from, I interviewed Ethan after he broke like the NCAA indoor mile record, and for him, like it's easy to see just sort of like his dad was a professional runner, and so like he'd been
Mhm.
ingrained in this at such a young age, and then when Gary, like the sub 4 and all the attention that he got like as a high schooler, like the seeds have been planted all along the way for like
Yeah,
these people to have success. You had some great success in Idaho and like won
right.
state titles and all that stuff, but like was this something that you had envisioned that far back?
I mean, yeah, it was a little bit different for me. I don't have any professional athletes in my family, none that I know of. I come from, pretty humble beginnings. But I did always want to be some sort of professional athlete. I mean, I think everybody can say that we all watched Usain Bolt in 2012, and everybody was like, I want to be an Olympian 100%. That is my goal. And like, that was true for me too. I mean, I was like, this is the coolest profession you could possibly have. And I mean, I just wanted it. I just wanted to be there. I wanted to have what they had. But it just looked different. I mean, a lot of it was self made, and yeah, I didn't know what breaking 4 meant. I didn't know any of the runners. I knew who Usain Bolt was, and I knew who Matthew Centrowitz was. That's it. I still don't know a lot of the pros, and it's kind of embarrassing because people mention somebody. I'm like, I don't know who that is, and it's really embarrassing because I love this sport so much. I'm slowly picking it up, but yeah, I mean, for me, it was just like looking at it now, it's like I accomplished it. I'm now a pro athlete, but like, yeah, it just didn't look like this for a very long time.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it took a really long time to get here. Let me tell you.
What do you
um,
think is the biggest thing that you've overcome just in that whole entire process to
oh
really, I
man,
guess, once things started clicking with running, more opportunities came about?
I think the hardest thing to overcome that honestly was what fueled me for the longest time was just like it was just rough upbringing. I mean, I love my family to death, and I would do anything for them. And especially now, like everything is like so great, and like we've definitely leveled up, but like we were exceptionally poor and things were really not easy. So like trying to get spikes or trying to like do anything, go to meets or like have what I needed to run, like it was exceptionally hard. And like that was probably the hardest part, was just even like getting through the sport. But thankfully my coach in high school, Tim Severa, he would buy me spikes. And he would buy like the whole team spikes because he was just that kind of coach, and he was that kind of person. And he would buy people trainers, and he would help us get to meets, and he would sign us up, and he would cover our like everything. Like, and so like that was probably the hardest part, was like the initial like break-in period, because like instead of like instead of having the money for it, like we didn't have money and this and that and the other, like I needed to do it myself. Of course, everyone wants to do it themselves. So like the hardest part was accepting help and then using the help and then excelling with the help. But after that, everything was pretty smooth. I mean, like we Coach Tim just took care of me and he kept taking care of me. And then like I got a job and it was way easier for everything because I was like 13, 14 when he picked me up and started training. So and I got a job around like 15, 16, and then things got way easier. But that initial break-in period was definitely the hardest part. But like I've always had a lot of loyalty and a lot of trust in my coaches. Thankfully, like a lot of people can't say this, but I've had two coaches my entire life. One of them is Tim, and he got me to where I needed to be so I could get on the UW team. And the other one's Andy, and I guess three, Chris Kwiatkowski, our assistant coach. And those are the coaches I'll have. And I'm very, very thankful for that. But yeah, that initial breaking period was hard. And COVID hit everybody like a truck, but I don't know. That was a little bit different.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and in hearing just kind of like have you've spoken like you're definitely one of those guys who's just always willing to give back, like even if it's just through the mentorship of the guys coming after you. But now as a pro athlete, sometimes you could talk to the brand. Let's get some spikes out to your former high
Yeah.
school and things like that. And so being
Uh,
intentional about that for sure.
Another thing that I love about Adidas is they've already reached out to me about doing that. They're already like, hey, we'll give like X amount of dollars for you to send to this school that they can spend on our product, like personalized for the people. Like, just let us know. So we're working through that right now. And it's just like, yeah, it's really cool. It's cool to see it full circle. Like, my high school, like, it wasn't exactly like the nicest high school, like Bora High School. It was like, it's just an old Boise high school. It's Boise, it's not like a crazy town. And our high school wasn't great. Like there's cockroach infestation. There were, it was one of those schools. But to give back to them would be really, really cool. Because like ultimately I wouldn't be here if it weren't for them, if it weren't for Tim. So it's really important. I mean, we won Gatorade Player of the Year 5 times in high school. And Gatorade too is one of those brands that just kept giving to our school, like the protein bars and the Gatorade mixes and the jugs and the water bottles for students and like all these different things for athletics. It was just there's just such a cool brand, and I want to be like them, even if I am just one person and I'm not a corporation. Like so, yeah, it is really cool to be able to be a pro and now give back to those people. Because I know how hard it is to get into it when you don't have anything.
Yeah. One thing that I love about doing these interviews is that, when we see you guys run really fast on the track, like people get exposed to you for, those 4 or 5 minutes. You do the post race interview for another minute on the TV. Then you do come through the mix zone. People get you for 5 or 10 minutes. But then here, we're able to speak and share, I think, a bit more at length. And so people are hearing some of the stuff that they haven't heard of before. And so you win over a couple fans, but now I'm going to put you on the spot for USA's. There's only 3 guys who get to make the 1500-meter team.
True.
Two guys, made the Olympic podium last year. This is a crazy crowded picture. You've got guys running, sub 330. PRs are crazy right now and all that stuff. But why should people root for Nathan Green to make this team for Tokyo?
Oh man. Well, there's a lot of other guys that probably deserve the rooting for more over myself.
This is we're clearing space on
That had
the
for
on the hype train. Why should people get on board?
man, because no matter rain or shine, I will give it everything that I have. I will give 100% of my mind, body, and spirit. And I might not be the prettiest runner, and I might not have the fastest PRs, but I do have what I consider the most guts, and I will go for it every time. And um, I think when it comes down to who I am as a racer and as a person, it's pretty consistent. And if you want to cheer for somebody who's gonna, look out for the people who are just like them, like you can cheer for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, um,
Plus, the Ducks have won 2 of the last 3 Olympic 1500-meter gold medals. Maybe it's time for a dog.
Maybe it's time for a dog. It's time for the purple rain. It's coming.
All right, Nathan. Well, I appreciate you taking the time for this. Wishing you all the best of luck, over the next couple weeks of training for the U.S. Championships. Maybe getting a couple races in between then. But on top of that, an amazing career at UW, and it's been really cool to follow along and learn so much more about you. And so I'm sure you got a bunch of new fans coming out of this.
Thank you. Thank you.